So I am gathering shit up to ship down to Kelly Blue Ball, WFO engines. Friend of mine in Arizona, you guys know him, you've seen him on MPK. He's gonna be coming out next year with a badass GTO, that big inch nitrous car to run MPK. So I don't know if I told everybody, but right at the end with the little 440 inch LS, I don't think I ever had true top dead center correct on it, because the amount of timing I had in it and race fuel, it shouldn't have, but it nipped a plug and got a piston. So I'm sending it back. There's a brand new set of pistons. He's gonna put a new set of pistons in it. We're gonna O-ring the heads or put fire rings in it. I pulled the motor out of the gold car since it went through the fire, and we fired it up, and the oil pressure was, I just didn't like what the oil pressure was doing, coming down about 20 pounds on idle. So I'm sending it to him. He's gonna tear it all apart, make sure everything's good. Then I'm gonna send him to Brian Macy down at Lake Havasu, put him on the dyno. The 440 inch LS motor that's going back into Chevy 2 for the 405 show, our street car show, will not be coming back out with a Pro Charger. She is gonna be nitrous only. The way I see it, I talked to Dave Vassar. Actually, Dave sent me this intake that he came off one of his cars. And the guys at CDI, they'd actually built the intake for Dave Vassar. And Dave said, hey, James is wanting to switch his over to nitrous. And they said, hey, we're good with that. Go ahead. So, pretty badass fucking intake too. So at first, David, I just had David do a single fogger, because all I was gonna do is like spray 75 on top of the Pro Charger. But if the whole idea of the 405 show is going back to our roots, then I want to get back to my roots and run a nitrous car. I was nitrous before I was anything, because that's all I could afford, and that's the way I've went fast in the past. And I think this 440 inch motor, it's got good parts in it. It's got an LSR, badass LSR block, CNC ported cylinder heads, blah, 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 blah. So, the motor will make good power on its own. But I also, one of the reasons I wanted to do all this, because as soon as this motor's done, the car's going to Church Boys Racing. They're going to change the front end. They've got a new modular front end out. My front end center of the car was one of the first prototypes, and they have way enhanced that front end since then due to feedback, things that we've seen with the front end, and it's kind of a totally different front end. Church Boys Racing, Chuck Church, said, hey, why don't you send your Nova up here and we'll put it back together. So by eliminating the Pro Charger, I can put all my AC brackets and everything back on the motor, put AC back on the car. So the 615, well, you guys see, that's the one out of the gold car that burnt. I'm gonna send it up to Kelly, just have him go back through it. It's a new motor, but I'm gonna have him go back through it and double check everything. Matter of fact, Kelly don't know it yet. He's got about 5 motors coming. Got another LS motor, a bunch of stuff. Actually, I think I'm gonna send him a whole bunch of fucking parts and just tell him, figure it out how to build a motor out of it. So Kelly, if you see this, I am fucking you on purpose. Because he told me, he goes, hey, come on, send whatever you want to send. Well, that's not a thing you tell me when I got enough parts to build 50 fucking motors. And this way I build the motors that I want for the cars I'm gonna keep, and then we know exactly all the shit that I'm gonna put up for sale. Because I've got there's a 9/8 deck Brodex block, solid block. I got 2 or 3 sets of solid 14 half-degree Sunny's heads with TD shaft rockers. All that stuff is fixing to come up for sale. So, other than the shop still blitzkrieged from the last thrash with the Corvette, and we're about to get the new shop, well, the remodel shop back together. When you guys see it, it fucking came out real nice. So, I think, guys, right now, you're kind of semi-updated. Oh, turn around that way. Just busted it out of the trailer. Fixing to pull the rear end out of it, send it to Strange. They're going to convert it over to a floater. Then we're going to start getting this ready for MPK. I feel like we had the combination to win at MPK. Oh, the car's going to Mike Duffy Race Cars. I talked to Mike. I want to do some things to the car. And basically, guys, I want him to go over the car from the front to the back. And we'll do another video on that, and I'll explain why. Because the thing in California, did I ever tell anybody what happened in California?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that throttle cable breaking in California really changed my mind about some shit and made me look at stuff in a different way. And I think I found my missing link.